Hello, welcome back. I'm not sure if I decided to just make the last part a separate episode, like a Knuckles episode, or if this is both of them are going to be edited together by me. But anyway, welcome back. And we're gonna go back to Metallic Madness Zone with Sonic and Metallic Madness Zone. As much as I like Sonic CD a lot, it's for very personal and biased reasons, and the person that I was at the time and the impression that it left on me. And Metallic Madness Zone was not a fun zone in Sonic CD. So when this appeared, it was again Oil Ocean, Lava Reef, and then this was a little bit bittersweet of like, well, I like Sonic CD, but why this zone? Luckily though, this zone rules. This is Sonic Mania's Metallic Madness Zone is one of my favorite Sonic levels of all time. It's Scrap Brain Zone from Sonic 1 basically, but on fire, but hog wild. It's amazing. It's like fast-paced but also very tricky, full of like these little traps that aren't very unfair. You can totally see them coming. So it's this very good mix of like these traps and obstacles that, you know, you might have to take it a little bit slow in your first time, but then as you get used to it, you can totally ace it really fast, and it's really satisfying to do so. Let me wait for that thing. I need to do a very super powered spin dash here so I can get to the upper path, and I want to make sure. Yes. Okay. Nope. Not enough, huh? Not enough, huh? Damn it. I will not have another opportunity at this. Let me try this again. Come on, get over here. Get over here. Oh, I think that thing takes far too long. Okay. You're here. Nope. Okay. Shouldn't have wasted that much time. And this level does something entirely new. This level is both acts are very new. Both acts they kind of have little bits and pieces of the original Metallic Madness, but they're both very new. And as you can see there from the background, I think you know where this is going. That's right, we go to the background, baby. Look at this. And it plays exactly the same. It plays exactly the same, you know? Ooh, this looks and feels so good. It's such a cool effect, and it's platforming here. Oh, it's such a good effect. I love it. You go over here, we have access to the special stage ring. And I don't know, maybe, you know, if you're not into retro gaming, you look at that and feel like, oh, you know, it's just like the palette thing of Mirage Saloon, like, oh, whatever, you know, changing color. Anything can do that nowadays. But, a retro game doing that, that's some shit you put in the box. That's some fucking... What do you think Mode 7 was? The whole fucking Mode 7 thing that fucking Super Nintendo kept claiming and just being very proud about was literally being able to do this kind of stuff. You know? And it's so smooth. It's so silky smooth. It's so good. And it works really great too. It's not just pretty, it works too. Nope, 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 damn it. Okay, forgo this. No! No! Okay. That's what I was trying to do earlier. Should I continue? No. I feel if I go down this route, I think this technique. Oh, okay, no. I think that I thought that I would go into the background. Ooh, oh my god, I didn't know those three would do at the same time. Also, I like that this level has a lot of like 45-degree slopes. You can do a lot of stuff with them, like, you know what I did, you know, feel like you're gonna go downhill, but you can totally save yourself if you know how Sonic works in slopes and stuff. And I don't, this level is just so tricky, but it's also, you can be really fast on it. It feels so satisfying. And oh god, I just love it. This and Act 2. Act 2, I have some criticisms that we're gonna get to them, but I love them both. They're great. This level can actually be beaten fairly quickly. You can beat it in a minute or even under a minute, but it took a lot of time. So here's the mini boss. It's the final boss of Sonic 1, and I hate the final boss of Sonic 1, but here it's actually really fun. And they didn't change much, but it's just, there are very little changes that make this feel like a good mini boss. And the first thing is that this being a final boss was very disappointing. This doesn't feel like a final boss. This feels like a mini boss. The second thing is that these pistons, they don't offer a pattern in which two consecutive pistons go at it. They always have to be at least one piston in space from one another. So by damn it, I screwed myself there. So by doing that, it makes the boss be a little bit easier. Another thing is that you notice here is that he takes a lot less hits to go down. Whereas the Sonic 1 final boss, it was like, what, 8 hits? It was just too much. And the third thing that they did is that this boss has a pinch mode, where he goes hog wild. And the trick here is that you see Eggman here. The trick here is that Eggman, or Robotnik, or whatever, I keep interchanging those terms, he will always go down on the 4th piston. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next time you count it. You count it. You count it again. You count it right? Good job. See, here's the cool thing about the Sonic Mania speedrun is that... Not speedrun. Wow, speedrun? Really? I'm calling this a speedrun? When it took 7 minutes to beat Metallic Madness, this is not a speedrun. The cool thing about this Sonic Mania walkthrough... Walkthrough? Wow, that's not right either. It's playthrough is what I meant. Is that it's both God, wow, I'm brain farting a lot. It's both a walkthrough and a Dora the Explorer kind of TV show. It teaches you how to count. So here's Metallic Madness Act 2. And it's cool. I like it a lot. There's just one issue that I have with it. Remember the thing that we saw on the last level? The layer things? You know, how the background has a level. So the original Metallic Madness 2 in Sonic CD kinda has that, but done much worse. And this level has that for some reason. Hold on. Very important. Listen to this solo. That sax solo is so good. Oh god, I love what T-Lopes did here with Metallic Madness 1 and 2. So here's what I was talking about. This wasn't the original Metallic Madness 2. And it's back here for I don't know what reason. Because in the first act, they kind of did this, but better, with the background having a level. And, you know, here, sure, it's different in execution. It has more to do with like not being tripped out by the fact that you can see stuff on the background, you know, being aware of what's in the background and what's not. But why is it there? Here's another thing that was in Metallic Madness. Tiny Sonic. Shrinking ray that turns Sonic very small. It's just cute. It's just a cute thing. And so, you know, the execution is a little bit different, okay, but it's a thing that it takes time. It drags down the pace of the level a little bit. The level is still excellent, but it drags down the pace of the level a little bit. And I don't know why is it here when they did the same thing but better in the first act. So I don't know why is this here. Why is it for? Oh, I'm still in the... Okay. Okay, I didn't know that. Oh. Okay. So I don't know why is this here. I mean, they do some interesting stuff with it here in Sonic Mania, but it's still... I still don't know why is this here. It feels almost like the Sonic Mania devs had access to the wow, okay, to the design docs of... Jesus. Here's another problem that I have with classic Sonic, is that they don't indicate which floors have these spikes that pop up and down. So you really have to know that they're there a little bit. That's another thing that Sonic Mania could have fixed, but anyway. Right, Metallic Madness. It almost feels like the Sonic Mania team had access to Sonic CD's design docs, which they did because they worked on, some of their team members worked on, where should I go? I don't remember. Which I know they did because they had access to... Oh. Wait a minute. Yes! This section rules. I love doing this. Oh, I didn't get the one up. Oh, I love doing that. Just spinning like crazy on those things. So it almost feels like they had access to these design docs of Sonic CD. And they saw that in Sonic CD they wanted to do the very same thing that Sonic Mania did, which was, you know, the background having a smaller, distant version of the stage, and Sonic just kind of shrinks and goes into the background. Kind of feels like they wanted to do that, but they couldn't quite make it. So instead they did the thing that they're doing here in Metallic Madness 2 of like the curtains and the shrinking ray. They separated that one gimmick into two different gimmicks. It's kind of what it feels like because it's done so well in the first act. It kind of feels like a merging of those two ideas. So I don't really get why they brought it back. Here's another element from the original Metallic Madness, these crushers here. And in here they come really fast. In the original they don't come down so fast, and I kind of prefer that they come down slowly, because in the original you could kind of like, while it's still going down, while it's still like about to hit you, you can use them as platforms, you know, just start doing platforming on them as they're slowly falling, and you can just kind of get away from the spike pit much earlier. But I understand why they did this here. You know, it feels more menacing, it feels more pressing and more exciting to make them come down so fast. So here's the boss of Metallic Madness 2. It's this Gashapon machine. And basically, we turn the Gashapon machine and it dispenses old bosses, mini old versions of bosses from Sonic 1 and 2. And also these mini Amy Roses. That if they catch us, these Amy bots can hold on to us and just immobilize us for a bit and the other Robotniks can come and crush us and lay waste on us. Oh, no, 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 no. They also explode, by the way. The Amy bots, I feel, you know, it's not only a reference to the Tails doll thing, you know, it's like an Amy doll, but it's also like a fun way of incorporating an actual mechanic in Sonic CD into a boss of, like, you know, Amy would run up to you and hug you in Sonic CD, and you'll be immobilized for a little bit. And in here they just took that behavior and assigned it as, you know, and creatively made it be part of a boss battle. And I feel like that's cool, but it's also a shame that that's the only appearance of Amy Rose in this whole game. And it would have been really cool if we saw, I don't know, if we saw something else of her, because being reduced to what's basically a fembot, you know, a shitty trope, and it's a shame. It's a shame, to say the least. So we are done with Metallic Madness. Oh, sorry. And here is Titanic Monarch Zone. So this is the final level of the game, and at this point I feel that it becomes clear that the game had some issues in the development, that they couldn't quite finish the game, and that cutscenes and general story stuff were the main victims of those cuts, like I said before, because this level isn't set up at all. And I feel like the end part of a game is the most important part, to have cutscenes, to have a story, to raise up the stakes and create tension. You know, Sonic 2, for instance, doesn't have level transitions, doesn't have cutscenes at all throughout the game. But damn it, I hate those electric things. But then in the last 3 levels, it does. It ties them all together, and it creates tension, and it really ties a pretty bow onto the game, and it creates a narrative just by having those 3 levels be interconnected the way that they are. And so this game Sonic Mania kind of does the opposite, where at the beginning there's a lot of inconsequential cutscenes, and then at the end, where it would be most necessary to explain the plot a little bit, there are none. So Titanic Monarch just kind of comes out of left field here. Oh wow, that's cool. Because it isn't set up anywhere in the game. We don't know what it is, and we don't know why it's important to the villains. Why are we raiding it? We don't even know if it's a giant robot, a giant statue, or a giant building or whatnot. You know, there's a giant robot in the background, but we don't really have any context for what it is. Here's the thing that I like about this level. There are these rotating spheres here that come straight from Sonic 3. Is bonus stage glowing spheres. I feel like they use them to do some pretty cool level design here. I mean, glowing spheres was a minigame that I always liked of Sonic 3, so I'm glad they put their mechanics into a level. Anyway, so we don't really know what the Titanic Monarch is. I mean, Titanic Monarch probably refers to the giant robot in the background, but we don't fight a giant robot anywhere in the game. Spoilers, we don't actually fight that robot. The robot might as well not exist. It's just a background element. And my theory as to what this level is that... Oh, here's a cool thing. Here's another shield interaction. If you have the lightning shield, you know, that thing carries you over. That's cool. So you know that at the end of Lava Reef Zone, we see Little Planet, like I pointed out, and we go to it, to Metallic Madness, and then the next level is this. So this is probably in Little Planet. And in Metallic Madness and in Stardust Speedway, fans of Sonic CD will notice that those levels are based on their past and present versions of the levels. And you know, even Metallic Madness, which is this crap brain kind of final level kind of thing, it's not really based off of the Bad Future version of it. But as you could see on the background for Lava Reef, it's roboticized, it's all, you know, robot-y, which kind of implies that it's in a bad future. So I think that what happened is Robotnik used the power of the Phantom Ruby, which, you know, we see that it transports people anywhere. We transported us to Rainy Hill Zone, it transported us to all these older levels. So he used that power to bring Little Planet over here, so he can use it as a flying fortress, and once again conquer it, do a bad future on it, and use it as a flying fortress. And Titanic Monarch here, remember the giant statue of Robotnik in Stardust Speedway? I think this giant statue here on the background is that. It is that giant statue, but like as an alternate bad future version of it. So I think that's a really cool way of tying the Sonic CD levels. Oh, I shot myself wrong. Of tying the Sonic CD levels into Sonic Mania. And hold on, I'll resume the train of thought later. Here's a section that I really like about this level, that it uses the glowing spheres here. So I like this part because there's multiple ways to go about it. It's very carefully created. So right here you can, right here. So there's that one up there. You see that one up right there in the corner. But to get it, I mean, we can just do this and we arrive over here at the next part of the level. But we want to get that one up. So one of the things that you can do is that you can shoot yourself like this, stand here, and you know, I can just do a spin dash right here like Teos did right there and get that one up. But what I like to do, very cool way of getting that one up, is like that. You can just shoot yourself to it. And I really like that this level has, I really like that you can do that. I really like that Sonic Mania has a lot of these little moments that are very satisfying to figure out by yourself. So here's the mini boss for Death Egg Zone in Sonic and Knuckles, and I don't like this boss. I didn't like it in Sonic and Knuckles, and I don't like it here because, as you can see, the way to defeat it without getting any damage is to do this very meticulous, very boring thing of like standing here and spin dashing and jumping. And I haven't even figured out a way to beat it without taking damage as Knuckles, because Knuckles has the shorter jump. So it's very boring, and I feel like it creates a bad vice to the player. It makes the player believe that they have to take damage. And I feel like the designers of a Sonic game should absolutely try to really make players not do that, to really not take the easy way out and just like eat the hits, eat the hits, and just keep collecting the rings back and just using the invisibility frames to attack. So here's the part 2 of this boss, which is entirely new. And what it does is that the elevator goes up and down, and it changes our physics here. So when the elevator goes up, you can't hit it, and when the elevator goes down, you know, when the elevator goes up, we jump. Oh, weird music glitch. Whoops. When the elevator goes up, we get heavier, and so we cannot reach it. And when the elevator goes down, we get super floaty, so we can hit him. And you're entirely at the mercy of the elevator going down. You just have to hope that it keeps going down. It's entirely random. Oh, jeez, I jumped wrong. So if you jump there prematurely before it hits, you know, you get to an alternate path, which I was trying to do, but I did it way too early. Anyway, that was what I was saying, right? So Titanic Monarch is that statue, I guess, turned into a giant base or giant robot, maybe. And I'm saying this. I'm not saying this with 100% certainty, because I don't know for sure, because the game doesn't present those informations well. So I'm just kind of spitballing here. I'm kind of connecting the dots myself a little bit, and I feel like if that was presented to the player a little bit better, it would have made this game feel more grandiose. But like, it's probably because they ran out of time or budget, and the presentation of the story was the first thing to get cut, probably in favor of hunting and fixing glitches and polishing the levels, which, like, I get it. If I was the main developer, the main producer, designer, or whatever, I would probably make the same call. You can see Sonic there, it doesn't like transparency. This pause screen thing doesn't like alpha transparency, I've noticed. Anyway, but still, like, cutting out these story things, you know, I feel like it hurt the game a lot. It made the game have... Simultaneously, the presentation of the game is very strong, and also it's, like, very, very weak in those parts, in those aspects. The game would feel a lot more like this true, official, grandiose sequel to the classics if the presentation was a little bit worked better, if they had enough time to put all these cutscenes that they wanted to do and to tie out the levels better like that. So because it doesn't have that, the game feels very gamey and artificial. It feels kind of like Sonic Generations, where it's just this celebration of all things Sonic, where it's like, hey, here's this level because, you know, it's a video game and we're bringing back the old levels. You know, like, the reason for these things to be there are entirely external to the game's logic, right? Green Hill is there because it's an old level and everyone likes Green Hill in Sonic 1 representation. Flying Battery is there for the same reasons, etc, etc, etc. So it kind of feels like the Sonic Generations thing, where there's really very little or no pretense of a story. And it's more about being a fun video game, but I feel like having a story pretense helps a lot in making this feel more meaningful and more real, which I feel was where Sonic Mania failed. And again, I get it. You know, they had to make some calls. They probably didn't want the final game to be exactly like this. So the gimmick to this level is that there's 4 rooms here, and we can tackle them in any order we like. We just have to clear them, and then the final path for the level will show up. And again, I feel like it's the same thing that I talked before of, like, this game feels very gamey and artificial, you know, whereas when other games do that thing, do the thing of, like, hey, here's like 4 things that you have to do, here's like a number of things, there's like these level segments that you can tackle in any order, but the thing is that you have to clear them all in order to unlock the final gate. They usually contextualize that in the game somehow. They go like, here's 4 keys, we have, like, you know, if you're in a castle, it's like this giant gate with 4 keyholes and you have to get the 4 keys. If you are in a giant air fortress, it's like, oh, we gotta destroy the engine of this fortress, or, you know, we gotta destroy each part of this fortress one by one so we can proceed, or, you know, we can take it down. But here it's not contextualized at all. It's just like, hey, here's like these portals, and you go through them, and at the end, when you go through all of them, then a final portal appears. It's again the thing that I talked about feeling very gamey, feeling very artificial. Same thing when earlier when we were in Mirage Saloon and, you know, playing as Sonic. Not earlier as Knuckles, I mean Mirage Saloon as Sonic. And you go into the train. You go into that train, and you know, you don't do anything aboard the train, so there's no narrative reason why it's there. The only reason why it's there, again, it's external to the game's logic, it's external to the game's story. See right here, we cleared that section. There's no fanfare, there's no, again, no context to it. So the only reason why we go into that train is because it is a Western stage, and trains are a trope of an Old West kind of stage. And it would be cute, I guess, and it fits the trope. Like it fits the trope. There's no like, oh, Sonic's gotta stop the train. You know, there's none of that. Maybe there would be. Maybe they had planned this whole like mini boss inside the train where you take it down and the train goes down, like, or you like fight the train itself. The train goes down and then you aboard the plane back as the train starts self-destructing. Maybe they had plans to do that, but you know, again, they cut corners where they had to, so we didn't get that. And these portal things feel like the same thing. It feels gamey. It feels like they only exist here because they wanted to make this kind of level. There's no like context to it as a story, as a cartoon world or whatever, you know. And I feel like, you know, that helps a lot of games. I feel like Mega Man would not be the same game if every Mega Man game did not have a little story to go with it. Not that, you know, those are by far not the main draw of Mega Man, but by having these little stories of like, oh, Dr. Wily's back, we thought what Dr. Wily's dead, or like, oh, Mega Man 4, it's about this Soviet scientist, you know. It really makes Mega Man feel like a cartoon, which is what it kind of wanted to, what Mega Man was trying to reference a little bit. Is like it wanted to be the 60s, the 70s cartoons and manga, you know, Tetsuo Nato, Astro Boy. It wanted to be that. It's basically a game version of that, and having these little storylines really makes it feel like you're playing through episodes of Mega Man. Like Mega Man is this old lost anime, and the game is the only way to play through the episodes, to experience those episodes of this anime. And I feel like that helps a lot. That helps the game a lot in having a bigger pull. And as much as I also feel like the moment-to-moment gameplay and the mechanics and everything come first, that is also, you know, that thing is also an important part of a game's presentation. You know, as much as I like to talk about mechanics, presentation is incredibly important. To a video game. And I feel like a lot of video games can and have historically been completely praised, and their content was entirely based around their presentation. Like, taking off the presentation, there's nothing there. So here, there's just a giant portal here. Why? I don't know. Like, there's this mosaic of the Hard Boiled Heavies here too, which, again, why is this here? I thought that we were on a giant robot. Are we actually inside a castle? Castle? Wow, a castle? I don't know. corroborating to this like weirdness to all of this is that the giant robot in the background of Titanic Monarch 1, there is actually a low poly model of it on the game's files. I don't know if they had bigger plans for Titanic Monarch, that was going to be the true final boss, or that they had bigger plans for making this level feel grandiose, maybe, I don't know, and they just had to be cut. So here's the non-true final boss, the fake final boss. This boss is actually based off a Sonic CD scrap boss called the Psycho Egg, and I think it's also called that here. This boss is actually extremely easy with the lightning shield. Without the lightning, you know, because those tentacles, they cannot hurt you. So this boss just is frivolous with the lightning shield, basically. And with the lightning shield, we don't get to see this, which is the... So this boss has those intermissions where we fight the hard-boiled heavies. All of them except for Heavy King. Again, Heavy King is delegated to the secret true ending. So we fight the hard-boiled heavies, but here's the thing, we can damage all of them. We can damage all the hard-boiled heavies, but it doesn't actually do anything. I don't know why we can do that. Because it doesn't make their attacks or their phases go faster. It doesn't make it end sooner. But we can damage all of them. So I don't know why that is. Again, I feel like this is a sign, a case that they had different plans for Sonic Mania that they couldn't quite make because of time restrictions or budget restrictions, and so they threw these unfinished hard-boiled heavy bosses that were probably supposed to be part of like this boss rush or something here, just so they don't go unused, I guess, and to make this boss battle a little bit more exciting and more final boss-like. Memory game. Who remembers that Sonic? Ah, damn it! I didn't. Who remembers that Sonic Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon? That episode that had the memory game. Because whenever I fight Heavy Magician there, I just instantly remember that. First, there was this robot that was cheating at it, that was stealing other people's money, and Sonic did it to him, did the same like memory game cup thing to him, but you know, Sonic is like super fast, so the robot gets confused, I guess. Again, it's kind of a race, but it doesn't really matter. All you have to do is survive. You can damage him back by pressing the switches, but it doesn't, again, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really result to anything. It just really feels like they had other plans for these bosses. So that was the last hard-boiled heavy there. After that, it cycles back. So that's why I was taking my time a little bit of that boss. So here's the true final boss, final ending, which is the Heavy King. But the Heavy King is like very different, like I guess mutated because of the power of the Phantom Ruby. And Eggman comes after him. And again, this game has a lot of really good animations. But in here, it feels like the compromise. It feels like they ran out of time, because that animation of Hard-Boiled Heavy, the power struggle between Hard-Boiled Heavy and Dr. Robotnik, it looked very hold on, I'm scratching my nose. It looked very cheap. It looked very very Flash animation-esque. I feel like it's a result of them running out of time. But I do like this boss's concept. It's kind of, you're fighting both Robotnik and Heavy King as they have this power struggle over who gets to claim the power of the Phantom Ruby. So we keep alternating between them. As one grabs the Phantom Ruby, the other one... They keep grabbing the Phantom Ruby back and forth. So how this boss works is that you jump, you have regular supersonic controls, but then when you press jump again in midair, you start flying. And if you press jump again while you're flying, you do this dash right here. Which I don't like doing because it consumes rings. Here, I'll show it. It consumes 5 rings every time you do it, and I've barely ever been able to hit either of the bosses with it. It's very hard to control. You can still get bounced around by their attacks while you're doing it. So I don't like doing it. I think it's a very fast way for you to lose all your rings. This boss actually gave me a bit of a hard time my first time through. It's very tricky, it's very hard if you don't know what you're doing. But again, just like playing Sonic, you get the hang of it. You totally get the hang of it, and then it becomes trivial. You can see right here. Again, the Sonic animation there, the way that Sonic kind of did that was very weird. Oh, a lot of glitch graphics here. Weird. Maybe I need to update my Sonic Mania. Maybe they fixed those, maybe they didn't, I don't know. See, there's a little planet all roboticized. And we flew out of it, so we know that Titanic Monarch is there in Little Planet. But that information isn't presented well to the player. And this ending animation is very simple. Again, I can't help but feel like it was a bit rushed. Because you compare this to the ending of Sonic CD and it's nothing. It's a very bland ending. And I feel like, again, it might have been a victim of budget and time constraints, because they had this very big trailer before pre-release of the game. They had this trailer with like the animation of like doodle Sonic animation, and it was, you know, it had this unfinished look to it, where, you know, it's just lines, it's not colored in. But it looked very good, so why would they allocate efforts and resources into that and not in making a satisfying ending? And I feel it's, again, this ending was a victim of they were running out of time and resources, I guess. So yeah, it so much so that it made me my first time through Sonic Mania, I was very disappointed with it, actually. Bear with me for a second, and it's because part of it is kind of my fault, and it's Sega PR's fault. Where Sega PR is very relentless. Sega of America's PR is incredibly relentless, and they want you to get, and they are pretty good at generating hype, but they are also very good at oversaturating you. And I maintain the opinion that everyone was excited for Sonic 4 solely because of Sega of America's PR. Because from the point that I saw that game, I knew instantly that it was not gonna be good. But you know, people bought the very heavy PR that Sega of America did on Sonic 4. And it worked. So they kind of did the same thing here with Sonic Mania, where they kind of oversaturate you and show you all like 90% of what they want to of what they really would like people to see about Sonic Mania. And so, you know, me being excited for this game, me wanting to follow the development of this game, I just kept consuming all of that. I just kept watching all of the new footage and stuff that they kept revealing, and it kind of made me have this very high standard for the game, and it kind of took away a lot of the surprises. Whereas the only surprises that I had with this game by the time that I played it were the ones that were disappointing. It was, oh, I didn't know that Oil Ocean was gonna be here. Oh, I didn't know that Lava Reef was gonna be here. You know? Oh, I didn't know that it was not gonna have a good ending. Oh, I didn't know that from this point on there's no more cutscenes. So, you know, I already knew that this game was gonna be very good. Whereas, you know, from the very beginning, when it was announced, I was like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna be like, because Christian Whitehead and Simon Famley's only, their only like completely new recent level was Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 2 Mobile. And that Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 2, I thought was very weak. I thought it was a very weak level, so I was like completely unsure whether they could pull off like good level design. But they did it. I mean, Sonic Mania has a lot of the best level design in all Sonic. It has, you know, some parts are not as great as others, some parts are kind of disappointing. But the highs are really highs and the lows are not very low. So at first I was very disappointed with Sonic Mania because I already knew all the best parts about it. So I was just left to find the things that I would find very disappointing. You know, if Sonic Mania just fell out of my lap, just fell onto my lap out of nowhere, I would just be completely enamored with this game. But because I'm old, because I'm old, and because I just kept following the game's development and PR for a year, it just, you know, I'm repeating myself at this point. But yeah, I think that Sonic Mania is excellent though. I do think that all my criticism is valid. But I still really like it. Sonic is one of my favorite series, and Sonic Mania is an incredible game. Ow, 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 ow. Accidentally did a thing. Ow. Accidentally stubbed my toe. Ow, ow, ow. So Sonic Mania it's great. It has some disappointment. It has some criticisms, and I just hope by externalizing all my criticism that somehow that will make its way onto the team, and that they will do a better job at Sonic Mania 2, because I'm comparing my criticisms are comparing Sonic Mania to like the best version that this game could be, right? I'm not comparing it to other Sonic games, because I do believe that Sonic Mania is probably the best Sonic game there is. Of course, it was built on the shoulders of giants. It owes so much to all the classic Sonic games that came before it. It rips off all the best parts basically off those earlier games. But it really is a very good game, and it would have been it is very easy to not make a good Sonic game, and they managed to make a good one. So I just hope that in their second game, which they will make, because this game was very cheap to make, and you know, I'm not dissing the team, I'm just saying what I've heard is that this game was pretty cheap to make, especially in comparison to something like Sonic Generations, you know, this, or even Sonic Forces. Maybe Sonic Forces was pretty cheap, but still, a game like this isn't that costly. It's kind of like an indie game. So this game was pretty cheap to make, and it generated a whole lot of revenue for Sega. So there's no way they won't do a Sonic Mania 2. And so I just hope that in their sequel they recognize where Sonic Mania could improve, and I really hope that they can really polish it up and really just make the most spectacular Sonic game there is, because I feel like it could absolutely be made. What else is there for me to mention? Before we go into extras, I wanted to say I don't think that I talked about the music so much in this game. T. Lopes is incredible. I was very insecure whether he could do it. I was very insecure whether he could pull off what he did, being the sole composer of a game, especially someone who wasn't classically trained in music. You know, I'm not classically trained in music. I don't know jack about music. I can't tell. I don't know any music theory, but I was very worried that, you know, usually one composer's soundtracks usually review a composer's vices and weaknesses very starkly, and I listened to a lot of T. Lopes' remixes and remasters and stuff and rearrangements, but I haven't really heard his original compositions very much. I didn't know if he was good in making catchy, interesting melodies on his own. And he is. He absolutely is. He made a fantastic job in the soundtrack to this game. The soundtrack to this game feels like, you know, ooh, geez, I'm kind of bleeding here when I stub my toe. Whoops. Let's wrap this up real quick. It's nothing big. It's just a cut. But I do have to sanitize it. Anyway, he made this soundtrack that kind of dialogues Sonic 1 soundtrack with the soundtrack of Masato Nakamura, that was the composer of Sonic 1 and 2, that had this very pop feel to them. And Sonic CD's soundtrack, which is very different, which is very like jazzy and funk and house, like this mash of these three things together. It's two very different styles, and T. Lopes managed to create his own style for Sonic Mania, create his own voice that also dialogues with those two different styles. It kind of feels true to those two different styles. It kind of manages to merge them together a little bit while still being its own Sonic Mania-esque style. And right here we have blue spheres. The extras here you unlock by clearing out the blue spheres, special stages, and getting medals and stuff. You don't have to get all the gold medals to unlock all of this. So this blue spheres mode is kind of like when you lock on Sonic and Knuckles to any cartridge that's not Sonic 2 or Sonic 3, which is that they're basically like a procedurally generated blue spheres levels. And in Mania mode, you get these new kinds of spheres here, like the green sphere that you have to clear them twice, or the pink sphere here that will teleport you to another location of the level. And I like this, actually. You know, I said that I hate blue spheres, but it's not quite that. I hate how much they drag down the pace of the game. They're not too bad a minigame. It's just that they drag down the pace of the game so much, and I had a very bad time again, my first time playing through Sonic Mania, I had a very bad time because I just kept doing these Blue Sphere special stages because I wanted to unlock stuff. And so it led me to just not really enjoy the levels because I had to do these special stages. And the PS4 has a lot of lag. You know, wireless controllers and HD TV and stuff. It creates a lot of lag that makes these stages a lot more difficult than it should be. So it was very, so that added to the frustration of playing Sonic Mania. There's only one Blue Sphere left. Fuck it. There's Mean Bean where you can just, you know, you play Mean Bean, you play Puyo Puyo. And there's other stuff that you unlock here. You can see here secrets. So you can have debug mode. You can have Sonic play like Sonic CD. And you can have Knuckles as your partner. That only works on no save mode. Wait, oh, I think I screwed up. I don't think I'm gonna have Knuckles as my partner because I picked Sonic and Tails. Oh no, I do have. There he is. Hi, Knuckles. It's funny because Knuckles in cutscenes, he just stands there. He has no animations of his own. He just stands and walks and stuff. Yeah, these are the extras. You can see I have Knuckles and I can do the super peel out just like in Sonic CD. He even has a unique little Sonic CD-esque animation. And with debug mode on, we can, you know, just like yeah, here we go. Oh, Knuckles finished the level for me. You know, I really like that it has this debug mode. You know, it's not much, but it's like, it's a very cool nod to the way that people used to play Sonic, you know? People would use game sheet genies and they would use level select codes to break the game and have this debug mode, and that's how people found out about stuff like, you like that cool move that I did? That's how people found out stuff like beta stuff, like this thing. How do I place it? I forgot how to place it. Like this thing, you know? Like, these debug modes were full of like these elements that never made it into the final game. And I like that Christian Whitehead and his team, the Sonic Mania devs, understood that that was an important thing about Sonic, that they had these things and that people screwed around with them, and that's how people found out about a lot of beta stuff. That's how people found out about Hidden Palace Zone. And without people having that sort of interest for beta stuff, people would have never gotten into fan gaming also. So I like that the team recognized that that was such an important thing, so that they had this fake, like, let's be honest, it's a fake debug mode because it wasn't actually used for debug. That they just put this here because it's like, I mean, it was an important thing about playing Sonic to a lot of people. I remember screwing around with debug mode as well. So yeah, this was my playthrough of Sonic Mania, my playthrough slash criticism slash showcase of Sonic Mania. And I hope you all enjoyed it. I thought that when I pressed exit, it would go into the I should have just pressed B. I thought it would go into the title screen. Whoops. Anyway, thank you for watching this. For going all the way through. For hanging out with me. For letting me talk so much and hearing through my accent and through my issues on expressing myself. And I'll see you next time.